What's up, Calm Your Mental family? It's a free bird. I'm just floating in, flying in, resting my wings, hoping to drift you into an installment of calm before I take a nap. Oh my goodness, what's up, Calm fam? How are you? What's good? What it be like? How you doing? And all that jazz. Well, I hope you are well. But if you're not, I'm here to drift you into that calm wellness or something. Maybe just take your mind off of things for a minute with the sound of my voice. You know, my intention with these episodes is to be medicine, to be something helpful to you in your moment of need. So take what you need, whether it's the sound of my voice or the message or both. If they help you drift off, even better. But do come back to the message and listen to it when you wake up. I appreciate that. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about my favorite subject. And it's inspired by just my own having to reflect and look at things that aren't working, and also talking to my friends, about the same thing, and, just hearing where they're struggling, and just wanted to speak a little more on it, and hopefully provide a little bit of guidance or perspective shift. So yeah, the subject at hand is about reprogramming your mind, honestly. And it's not by any means a simple task, especially with the older we get, because we're all kind of fixed into a routine that we've been doing for however long. And, sensing in ourselves, maybe through repetitive failures or things not working out, or just how we feel in our bodies, frustration that, something needs to change, or I can't keep doing things this way because I just can't. I can't take it anymore. Whether that's a mental thought or you just feel your body revolting to the way that you've been doing things. So, I know that I normally kind of talk about this or weave this into my messages, but, I just want to take a moment with you to reflect on what isn't working, what's not working in your current process, in your current routine. What's sticking out, as something that, you could possibly make room to shift or pivot from. Shout out to the Pivot podcast, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to for that very reason. It's so amazing to listen to people's stories and hear where they started or hear where they messed up and hear them reflect on their choices and actually be able to triumph after, those choices that maybe weren't the wisest. And we all have that going on at some point, we deviate off the path for many reasons, a lack of joy, a lack of pleasure, just being tired, whatever it is, or being tired of the same thing, Anyways, let me get back to my message. It's important not only to reflect on damn, what's not working, but also, why do I continue to do something that's not working, or something that just does not make me happy? Something that just is not doing it for me, And the example I'll use is what I and my friend were speaking about earlier, and we were talking about the topic of work and, just waking up, being in this routine of waking up and just doing. And, not feeling satisfied if we're done too early. Not thinking we've done enough if we don't hit a certain time, or there's too much time left in the day. And I was explaining to him my thoughts about it. My thoughts about that are that, we all grow up in a system of where we're being trained to believe that that's the way we're supposed to live. We're supposed to be in a constant doing state, and then we reward ourselves later. We reward ourselves with rest or food or whatever later. But there's this time where we're just supposed to be machines. And damn us if we deviate from that, Really, it's how we treat ourselves when we deviate from that. And so, damn it. Sorry, y'all, I had to pause because I got a phone call. But anyways, as I was saying, there is a structure and a routine that we're used to of, waking up and doing 8 hours of something, and then getting to take the rest of the day to prepare for the next day, really. We might power down a little bit and be able to do a little bit of something, but honestly, we're just, preparing for the next day, and it goes on and on and on. And what I was explaining to him is, in my awakening, and when I first started awakening, it had to be in 2011, when I first started realizing there was something wrong with this routine of just waking up and doing work instead of being present, and just feeling very unfulfilled in the process, just feeling like I wasn't really in control of the process. I was just kind of in a loop of just what I was programmed to do. And so I started, I want to say it was then 2011 or so, when I first started unraveling, first of all, is this how it has to be? And I started to look around me at people who were not living that way, who were actually enjoying their lives, who were actually enjoying the work that they did, who actually had half the work schedule in their day, and had more time for the other things going on in their lives, and yet they were still able to afford their living and what they were doing. And so that kind of brought a little bit of hope into my view of like, yo, maybe this is possible for me. Now, it would take many, many years for me to continue to unprogram myself from that idea that I just had to do this work and just keep a good job. All the things that people tell you, your parents tell you and their parents told them, just find a good job and keep it, is what my parents told me. And I do understand the mindset at that time. But I didn't work that way. I didn't function best that way of just finding a good job that paid a lot of money, because my heart and my soul and my spirit was not fulfilled. And me learning more about myself was learning that, no, that is how I function best. I need to be fulfilled in my work. I need to be fulfilled in what I'm doing. I need fire and passion behind how I show up. And I'm a woman of service. I love serving. So I had to look at my own life and embrace how I was designed and figure out how to make that work in this reality. But it started with what I believed for myself. And until I could wrap my mind around a different idea of living, I would struggle with how to do that, how to actually make that possible for myself. But I was able to do that. And with the changing of my thoughts came a lot of writing, came a lot of writing a new story for myself, like literally grabbing a notebook, grabbing a journal, and rewriting my life, and writing my life as if I was living the life that I felt I belonged in terms of my work and how I wanted my day-to-day life to be. And I am living so much more of that now. The schedule that I have now is crazy as a flight attendant, but it doesn't much feel like work. I mean, it's very draining. Let me not even front, but it doesn't feel like work. And that's one of the things that I wrote in my journal. I didn't want my job to feel like work. I want it to feel like something I enjoy doing. I wanted to be paid to do the things I love. And one of the things I love about my job is it's not in an office. It's up in a plane. And I get to look out the window and see myself among the clouds. I don't have a supervisor. I don't have someone, like in the air with me. I don't have anyone breathing down my neck. I get to serve people. These are all things I wrote down. I get to do the things that I love in a way that feels good to me. And I get paid to do it, I'll just put an asterisk in there that flight attendants are not paid for all their work and that they're still fighting for certain rights to be recognized, especially getting paid for every hour that they work. However, the point is I redesigned my life in a way that flowed and felt good and fit who I was, fits who I am. Not only does my schedule and the way that I design my life free up time for just the joy of flying and traveling wherever I want, when I want, but also it gives me the time to do my podcast, to be a creative, to do the other things I enjoy doing. So as much as there's this work or this job that I have that is very unorthodox, unconventional, I also get to create and do creative shit with my time. I get to manage my time in a way that feels good to me. And so the example that I used as well with my friend in our talk was that, people who live off the grid or are in rural areas, or even like villagers, people who are like natives who live in the woods, I don't believe that they have like this set schedule where it's just work and they're just tunnel visioned. A lot of it is a family unit, and as much as there's work, there's joy, there's things intermingled in it where it doesn't feel like work to them, that it feels just like life. There's laughters, there's breaks, there's eating, there's singing, there's living. And it's much different from the life we've been designed to live, which is very much us just producing for someone else's bottom line, producing for someone else's benefit, instead of working together, finding our communities, our villages to work with and enjoy life with. And so, this love note is just to put a little bug in your ear that it is possible. It is possible to back away from the 9 to 5 and still make a great living, but to enjoy your life throughout whatever you're doing. To take yourself out of the assembly line of the mindless production, of the hyper focus on everything you can afford or everything you need money for, and just shifting how you see life and asking yourself why you need all of this stuff, or what you're working so hard for. Now, I'm not saying shirk your responsibilities or that you don't need money for your responsibilities, for your bills, for your children. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is what is necessary. And can your dream, your passion, the things that you love to do be the source of your income? They can, but they start with what you believe and truly becoming aligned with. Your calling, your callings. In the meanwhile, to whatever your goal is, keep writing and rewriting those visions, those things you want to believe for yourself. I'll give you a little start, I guess. One of the things that I wrote down constantly is I get paid to do what I love. oh my goodness, my life feels so good. I get paid to do the things that I love. And you can be more specific. I make a massive income doing the things that I love to do. And ways are constantly being made for me to do the things that I love to do and be well supported doing them. Hopefully that's a good start for you. And hopefully this message isn't too messed up with the interruptions. Y'all know I'm not going to delete it. I just keep it pushing. On to the next episode. You know, I think interruptions are natural. Phone calls are natural. Things happen. So that's when I hit pause and try to pick up where I left off. This is a self-improvement podcast, but it's also very imperfect. Bear with me. Anyways, that's all I have for now. Take care, calm your mental family. Until next time.